He, this is Point Black, coming in hard and off the cart, coming with the flow straight from the barrio, and coming with that heat from the motherfucking street. This is PBNN Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well, because this is what we must do. Now today, we have the facts to crack backs, the boom bip to the line ass lip, the flow from the barrio, the facts to crack backs, the boom bip to the line ass lips, PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well. Because this is what we must do. Now, today we see where we have a lot of what I call bullshit going on, as usual, and many of the young kids that are now eligible to vote and are voting in the electoral process, and also on the verge of many protesters and different things against the genocidal behavior of the wicked factions within many governments to even allow this to go on without a complete ceasefire. And for them to be coming at it at this time after so many have lost their lives. You know what I'm saying? Because that scriptural vote, the fake vote, you know what I'm saying, they wrote in these type of things that they could get away with it and think the whole world must always just stand by and play political games while people are dying in all ways. Now, when many of the young people today vote, one thing I want you to take a long look at is if you have a country or a place that can be what I would call a last stronghold of what we call freedom in many ways. You know what I mean? Using that terminology of word. But when we look at the tranquility and the peace on earth and justice and the many different things we would like to see all people have, and that is going to be led over into your future to make this a tranquil place on planet earth for all human beings, all people of the planet, to be secure, to be safe, and not under the threat of violence, as if many of their own people have done to other races as well. So, in many ways, you can always say what goes around comes around. But that is not a good saying when it comes to what we need to see happening on our planet and this place we call Earth. We have to start to look at if we're going to have these things of tranquility, peace, no war mongering or war in its actuality of happening, and so many people's lives are being lost across the planet, and nobody's there to speak up for them, and the genocidal behavior goes down. We must shut these things down, because if you want all the things that I just mentioned based on the tranquility and a better future, and the future of your life long after many of us may be gone, if you have one or two or three or four or more rabble rousers that's still in the crowd doing these things, then that tranquility will only escalate to more problems more troubles, and more death. So in actuality, when we look at today's world and see the things that are going on and only see one side of the bridge but not the other, and then when you see the other, it acts as if it's some watered down, it didn't happen, and many lives and people didn't die behind the bullshit of the wicked beasts calling themselves demon Democrats in many ways. And crooked Republicans on the other side who have sabotaged the Republican Party in many ways, that when shit happens over here goes bipartisan and goes right along with it. So it still leads to this side. If you have that in your government and the many problems that we see going on across the earth, this will not bring that tranquility. You see what I'm saying? So your vote and how you are looking at this world, in the way you're voting and who you're voting for, who is no more what we'll call uh, lion lips of abomination in these people, as they tell you these different things and these different con games so they can stay in power and you vote for them. But you cannot have that in the next government that will come up in the future, like I said, after many of us are gone. You would still have the same problem or even worse. So if you don't see or understand what has just happened in many ways, then you are completely blinded to what have been shown. What have been shown based on even what we call the conviction of a standing president that was completely blackballed, demonized, criminalized in every shape and form. You know what I'm saying? It did not show a win for anyone really, but it did not show a win at all for no one, especially the Democrats who think that they have won and all their followers. But what has just happened in more ways than one is the exposure. The exposure. You know what I'm saying? The exposed of every branch of our government that is criminally negligent, treasonous, and backbiting, stabbing in the American people in the back, and many more. To where you're saying you have armed migrants arming themselves and doing whatever it is to get papers and all kinds of criminal stuff, you know what I'm saying, driving that fear right home. So we know in more ways than one that they are rabble-rousing the people into violence in all shape or form because, like I said, they love blood and guts. But if we continue to look at all of these people who have lion lips of abomination and all they tell you is these good lies, these good stories, try to twist things in so many ways in order to keep you voting for them, will not lead to tranquility in the future. And if you don't get it together as young people all over the world, I'm not just talking about one race of people from the United States or a group of people from the United States. I'm talking about all over the world must come to this understanding when it comes to the young people, understanding what is going on and what needs to be done in order to bring forth a tranquility on the planet as we see it. If you continue to let these different leaders, politicians, civil rights leaders, and many crooked pastors and many others who seem to control the narrative to you of reality based on what you should be doing for yourself and looking out of you to see what is going on, you will be in the same trap that we are in today. So many of the young people must now make a decision as to looking at your party, looking deep into your party to see what they really stand for and what they have produced over 47, 50 years, or maybe 100. You know what I'm saying? Going way back to now. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't stay on what happened then only unless you have a fact check on something that we know they have done that has been missed. But other than that, you must fact check all that, but it still has to bring you forward. Because even if you have a time machine and you go back in the past, you know what I'm saying, you are still going to have to come forward in that past. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not going to go back in the past and stand still and stand time still where you just stay in that still spot. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to have to come forward somewhere, sometime or another, which will bring you to an age of the same thing that would have happened if you were still here in the present from which you left to go in the past. So you're still going to come forward anyway and grow old and die. You know what I'm saying? Just like everyone else, unless you have some other way. And you should let us know. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, even if you go back, you still have to check those facts and come forward to now. So when you look at now, you're looking at what it is these people are truly doing. Because the roadmap sometimes take you there and here, take you there and then back here in order to see the roadmap in which they were digging. Because when you go off of the roadmap that they're showing you now, you can easily be fooled by fucked up news media and many different news media outlets, leaders, civil rights leaders, black caucus dummies, and many other idiotic assholes who choose to want to control your mind based on propaganda, lies, and all type of schematical garbage. If you continue to feed into that shit, whether it's left or right, you know what I'm saying, and not have a central base to sit down and have good talk and good dialogue with power, which means the good talk and the dialogue must sit down on an all country board around the world of all leaders and come to an agreement in case when things have gone wrong or some schematical treasonous motherfucker did some bullshit and using the government to protect his actions by signing orders and executive orders and laws and bills and all types of shit to twist and turn and put out this shit that the bullshit of his schematical garbage actually happens. You cannot have that. We must have good sit down, good dialogue talk with all nations and come to an agreement. And all the nations that are participating in that dialogue must understand that there must not be crooks amongst you in the wicked beastly shit that you are doing, or you still will not be able to solve that. But in that coalition or that forum, the world will be able to talk to each other and come to a solution in the two countries that seem to have this dispute going on, you know what I'm saying, and come to the bottom of the fact, was it chumped up? Too many nations are involved in the wickedness, talking about the criminal organization called NATO of 34 nations. How can 34 nations calling themselves NATO, you know what I'm saying, which to me sounds like Nation Alliance Dual Patrol, you know what I'm saying, will sit there and let the Gazan people be murdered off by net jackass, lion ass, Zionist, bullshit to go Israel, garbage trickery game, and watch these people be murdered off while these nations are sitting there doing nothing at all. So it's a global understanding that has gone wrong somewhere. And this is where the young people in the world will stand up and fight and bring forth with all their might. Too much of this garbage have been going on, and a whole lot of racism and wicked shit in the minds of people have been driven, bred, and now in their DNA. So this is why many of the young people now must understand that you must take a hard, long look, because if you don't do something and start it now to grow and build, you know what I'm saying, it will carry over into your future. And that's the problem that you're going to face. So while we busy worrying about 34 counts of Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that, Donald Trump is a martyr. He's a fucking hero. Because everybody missed the point. You know what I'm saying? They have been thoroughly exposed from the FBI to the chief and commander seat to the vice president seat, all the way to the border. You know what I'm saying? With Mayorkas or whatever, Cuba or Mayorkas or whatever his name is, and even Homeland Security and Merrick Garland and all of them. Alan Braggs, Fannie, all of them have truly been, the whole branches of our government in the United States have been thoroughly and fully exposed. And if the young people cannot see that, then you're going to have a huge problem in the future. Because anybody will be able to tell you anything, and even if you know that it's wrong and should not be, you would still be forced into doing it as well. So we have to start to look at things from a brighter perspective, and not just a dumb perspective, in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? We have to find ways to make sure in the future for for your young people growing up and becoming adults and all of this and that, full adults where you're in your, now hitting your 30s and going into your 40s. You know what I'm saying? If you start now in cleaning out the governments across the world and pushing them to do so, because you see in many nations when people talk up, you know what I'm saying, they would be slaughtered. Period. This type of behavior is what I'm talking about. Where the people have sometimes you have no rights. You know what I'm saying? They're even trapped within the region in which they are with no liberation to be found. This is not America's stance, and this is not America's way. It's the way that they have corrupted to be over many, 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 many years. You know what I'm saying? And I mean many, many years. The same procedure, the same bullshit, the same garbage all the way down the line. And Lord knows what secrets they truly have based on even, you know what I'm saying, outer planetary beings and many other things that were here before or whatever that they know about that are not telling us, which is cool. But some of it probably would freak you out. But, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when it comes to the common life and the common people, you know what I'm saying, they should not be in a victimized situation of being swayed from the left to the right, being driven in high prices, high economy to where they can't afford to even live in a house or even buy one. When everybody else comes over here and they get in 3-bedroom houses and $450,000 to build them or even buy one. You know what I'm saying? Where American people are sweating their brow in the summer, the hot, the heat, the cold, the this, the that. You know what I'm saying? Only to be hit with a bullshitical game of pandemic to see that this is true. They probably even trying to bring that back as the election draw close, saying there's a new this and a new variant and a new that coming out. You see what I'm saying? And they want to try to force us back into mass mandates, lockdowns, and all the bullshitical garbage because they signed the Article 2.13. You see, so a lot of the nonsense that they're doing is still showing and has been exposed to the game in which they play. Even when we look at many of the insects and different shit that is coming out, you know what I'm saying, many of them are being laboratory grown, you know what I'm saying, and put out on the people and causing havoc across the planet in all ways, because this is what they're trying to do in their book of Revelations and the bullshit that they want to try to bring to life. You know what I'm saying? So the young people are going to have to stand up more stronger than they is in many ways you know what I'm saying, in the political fight that has sense enough to understand what they're fighting for and old enough to be out there in more ways doing it, and all in itself going to have to fight, because we cannot have school shootings. We cannot have kids going to school just learning to play with a Power Ranger, and then when he gets to school, some shit pop off because of some fuck up idiot that's in the deep state, along with them blood sucking mercenary clown. You know what I'm saying? And sending this nigga up into the school to shoot up the school or whatever the case may be in this clown. Why would you go to an elementary school and shit like that with an AK and all of this and that? So something is really wrong about this situation. But that needs to be cleared up from the United States public schools altogether, and any school altogether. There should be no reason for a person to go up there and do some shit like that. And for that to happen, something has to be connected somewhere. I'm not saying that there is, and excuse me, fuck the conspiracy theory. Something doesn't look right, and it doesn't feel right, and I know there's something to the bottom of it, but people just don't want to seem to want to deal with it. But we're going to have to. So many of the young people I'm speaking to, when you place your vote, when you know who you're voting for, watch the con games in which they play. Because if you have one bad apple, or a bad apple within that coalition of the new generation and what the council have been brought together, and that council, like I said, must have the power in order to shut down any tyrant on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to work as we go, because it's very important that we do.